Hello Edgewood community. This video is going to show you how to do a filter backwash and also a pump basket cleaning. Both of these could be independent tasks, but I'll show them both together just because a lot of the time you have to do them together. So as always in these videos, I like to talk about frequency. Honestly, this is one of the most frequent things that you're going to be doing at the pool. Certainly the filter backwash and also the basket cleaning should be done at least once a day. Honestly, sometimes when the pool's really hopping, like 2 or 3 times a day isn't a bad idea. So a couple of things you'll want to notice about the setup here. First of all, we've got the inlet flow right here. We've got the valve that controls what goes to the filter and what goes to the backwash. And then we've got, of course, the outlet flow, which you probably can't see, that little gauge down there. So I'll be referring to these occasionally as we go here. So the first step is pretty easy. We're just simply going to shut off the pump, and then we're going to move this valve into the backwash position, and we're going to let it run for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, depending on how dirty it is. And at this point in the year, we're sending the water out the back of the pool house. And honestly, this is simply to kind of like let the bed rise up a little bit and kind of force water the opposite direction through all the zeolite that's in this filter right now. And then we'll reestablish the normal flow, like so. When you've completed your minute and a half or however long it takes, you're going to shut off the pump. Move this back into operating position, turn the pump back on, and you should have your flow reestablished, and I'll show you exactly what the dial should read. So one of the things I should have mentioned at the beginning of this video is one of the ways that you know you need to do a filter backwash is this pressure will be a little bit higher, right? And so right now you can see we're running right around 28 psi. Once this filter starts to get clogged with debris, you'll see this pressure rise. And this, the outlet flow, you'll see right now is right around 23 psi. And this guy tends to drop when the filter starts to get clogged. So really what we're looking at is kind of a differential between these two. So, you know, this differential of like 28 and 23 of about 5 psi, that's usually a pretty good differential. Anytime it gets, you know, up into 7s or 8s, that's when you really know that you have to do a filter backwash. Honestly, I would just backwash every night. When you're ready to do the pump basket cleaning, one of the things that you should always do, of course, is shut off the pump. I'm going to show you a couple of different steps here and give you a couple of tips and tricks. Hopefully you can hear in the video. This is a little loud, but as always, you shut off the pump. The very next thing that I'm going to do, and I'll show a close-up of this in just a second, is that I'm going to close both of the blue valves so that I can minimize when I take the top off of this filter basket cover, that we minimize the amount of water that we lose. Quite often, honestly, it's not a big deal if you lose a bunch of water in the filter basket. What that means is just that you're going to have to prime the pump, and so I'll show you how to prime the pump as well as a part of this video. Okay, so we're going to close both of the return valves. We're going to close the main return valve. We're going to close the skimmer valve, and you'll notice when I take the top off of this pump basket that we start to lose a little bit of water. Depending on how plugged everything is, you may or may not lose a ton of water, but as you kind of see this stuff drain out, you do need a minimum of water in order to like reestablish flow. And so if you did let it run down to about this level, it's very likely that you'll have to prime the pump basket. So we'll see that in just a second. Pretty simple stuff. You remove this. There's a bunch of junk in there. Some people like to wear gloves, and you pretty much just get the debris out. So I cleaned the pump basket as well as I could. You'll notice that there's kind of this opening, and that opening goes facing away from the pump itself. I should mention that there's an O-ring here that you want to make sure is well seated. You certainly don't want to lose it, otherwise we can't maintain the sealed system. And you simply take the cover and put it back on. If I were to start this right now, it likely wouldn't have enough water present because I've been talking. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to come back here to the hose and place the end of the hose into the filter basket. And the idea is that I want to fill this completely with water such that there's as much water as I can get into the system. And then when I open up the main valve, which I'll show you in just a second, it'll be fairly quick, and hopefully we'll get a pump basket filled with water.